$500 million. That is how much was liquidated from the Bitcoin and crypto markets over the last 24 hours. What's behind the liquidations? Are you buying the fear? We're going to talk about that. We have Forrest joining us for Forrest Friday. It's just going to be him and I, as you see the empty seats next to me on the beautiful custom-made desk here. We're going to talk about Trump meeting with Jerome Powell, and is he going to sway a rate cut? What would that mean? We'll talk about Trump saying we're going to maybe give a rebate from all the tariffs you collected, and what could that mean for the markets? We'll talk about BlackRock's head of digital assets leaving for an Ethereum-based company, an Ethereum treasury company. Does that signal a top or a shift of massive inflows going into ETH? We're also going to be doing a giveaway with Forrest. You do not want to miss it. And I'm going to ask Forrest a question. And before I ask him a question, Hedera. Forrest is becoming bullish on Hedera. I'll get his thoughts on that. He did send out an email through Assisting Research today. Beautiful breakdown. They just got listed on Robinhood. What is his thesis for HBAR for this cycle? And then finally, I'm going to ask Forrest, Tron or Cardano, what would you rather have exposure to in this market cycle? We have that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go. I'm not doing the dumb all out thing, but welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'm joined by my man Forrest. It's Forrest Friday. Forrest, welcome back. We missed you last week. Happy to have you. You know,
thanks for having me on.
You know, this is going to sound weird, but I wanted you all to myself, man. That's why I kicked Robin out of here. You know, I feel like we have an adult conversation. Yesterday's show went completely off the rails. I, in fact, had to leave mid-show. But I'm back today. Things should be back to normal. It was a fun time. But today we're going to bring you all of the alpha. To kick us off, we're announcing a giveaway with Sin City and Sistine. So Forrest, for those of you that are in the Sistine channel, you know, in this Discord, Forrest is migrating or has started migrating to towns, which I'll let him speak about that. Now, this one does have an entry of 0.1 ETH, but that covers the entire year, and it includes everything from the research papers, the access to the Discord, the pro channels that people have been in so far will all be migrated over to towns and with the 0.1 ETH. So what we're going to be doing is one of the first 5 people that joins towns for Sistine Research, we will refund you the entire year's cost, which is 0.1 ETH. All you got to do is very simple. Join the towns. In the general chat, type in Sin City Crypto, and one of the first 5 we'll pick at random and we'll refund you the 0.1 ETH. So you have year-long access to the amazing alpha that Forrest shares. And so we'll be doing that hopefully by the end of the show. So that link is in the description of the video. It is the 3rd link you'll see in the description. And what I'll also do is I will drop it in the chat as well. And you guys know I talk about this all the time. My very first 100X came compliments of Sistine and Forrest. And so the stuff in there is the absolute real deal. And so, yeah, we're doing that giveaway. And so we're excited to be doing that. All you got to do, again, click the link, join, go to general chat, type in Sin City Crypto. We'll pick one of the first 5, okay? And we'll refund you the 0.1 ETH. Forrest, real quick, we'll jump into the markets. Towns, why move? Why move there, and what's your thesis on it, and what could people expect when they join? There's a lot of buzz going on about are they going to have a token airdrop and whatnot. Can you maybe speak on that for a couple minutes?
Yeah, so I think they'll have an airdrop. So I'm hoping that a lot of the members that were able to migrate early enough for the snapshot will hopefully offset some of the costs of their subscription for at least the first year by getting that airdrop. It's just like a Discord competitor, but it's built on a decentralized layer 2 protocol. It also just has a lot of really great incentives and integrations. So as far as like, you know, somebody running a town versus running a Discord server, the payment processing is just taking crypto over having a Stripe integration that doesn't even plug directly into Discord. You have to go and take Stripe payments on a website and then have a form that people fill out to verify their email address and put in their Discord username, and then they get sent an invite link, and then you got to have manually update their roles. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
All of that's just totally automated. Like you pay the 0.1 ETH entry fee and you're in there for a year. And it all handles it. So from an administrative perspective, it is light years better than Discord, and it's all in crypto rails, which also saves you on payment processing fees.
And
Beyond that, there's like integrated trading features. So like you can just type a ticker and just start trading on chain on Solana and Base Network, right from your wallet that you get and can fund directly in your Towns account. A lot of similar features to Discord. And then there's also like some really cool tipping features. So if somebody posts like some good content or a trade idea or something, you can just directly tip them on chain. I just think that there's going to be a lot of, I think it's very, very early. They haven't even launched the token yet. So I think we're early to Towns, but I think it's going to be really big because I think most paid communities, most Discord communities and Telegram groups are going to be very, very tempted to switch over there because they're just democratizing the value. So instead of all the value being produced going to Discord, it's, you know, going back to the users through Towns token, back to the community leaders through Towns token. Just very, very excited for it. I think over the next couple of months and years, you're going to see Towns get really, really big.
so Forrest, just real quick with the tipping feature. So literally anyone, it could be, I don't know, Curtis Reese from the chat. He joins, he shares some of the knowledge he has, and let's say it does well, and people are like, oh my God, I made money. They can tip him directly?
Yeah, just very, very fast and simply directly from your on-chain wallet. So yeah, I think it's like integrating, you know, like the on-chain, you know, trading meta that we've seen blow up so big, directly into a platform that feels and looks a lot like Discord. So Discord's where a lot of crypto community lives. I think most of them are going to move to Towns because Towns is just better and has integrated Web3 features where Discord has just failed to do so.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I'm in your Discord, I'm in the Towns, and you're 100% right. It's the UI, the experience is much better. I actually have I have a channel in there as well that I post content on. So if you want some extra alpha from me, you'll get that as well. Okay, so again, giveaway, we'll try to do it at the end of the show, but one of the first 5 who types in Sin City Crypto in the general chat, we will be refunding you the 0.1 ETH for the entire year. Okay, let's get into the markets. Forrest, $500 million yesterday liquidated from the markets. Obviously, majority of those being longs. It has cooled off over the last 1 to 4 hours. 1 hour sitting at 7 million, 4 hours sitting at 87.39. Now, Forrest, for me, I do have some limit orders open. I did close a trade. This breakout retest didn't play out like I thought it was going to. Right, we had that breakout. We came back. We stayed above, closed 2 candles above this bull flag / bull pennant. And we should have seen that bounce and rally, but we know trading is all about probabilities, and we came right back into this pattern. And unless Bitcoin's price gets back to 116.7, we will officially have failed this breakout. So my target for the next one, Forrest, was, I drew my fibs, and it was draw these. It was the gold pocket that I am eyeing for a limit long entry, which currently sits at around 113.4. I don't know if we're going to hit it. Bitcoin obviously has reversed. You see, we did get a wick all the way down to 114.6. But flush out on Bitcoin. A lot of people, again, are wondering what the hell is going on. A couple things I can maybe share with you. This is one from Coin Bureau, posted this on X. Massive Bitcoin exchange inflow. Binance just saw its largest Bitcoin inflows in over a month, likely triggering the latest dip. Take a look at that, and you can see kind of the correlation of big spikes in exchange inflows, net flows, and the price action in the line here. You also had this, if you guys remember, I think it was earlier this week or last week, we shared that one Bitcoin whale sent 80,000 Bitcoin to Galaxy Digital. Well, it seems like Galaxy has sold 30,000 of that. On the order books, not OTC, on the order books. And so we can look at the dip. We can point to a reason why the dip happened, and I think this is partly the reason why. Forrest, do you think this has anything to do with it? What are your thoughts on this pullback? Did you buy anything on the dip? Are you buying the fear? Where are you at from a sentiment standpoint? And if you want to speak on price action as well, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I think a large portion of this dip has been this whale selling through Galaxy Digital. It's that wallet that had like 80,000 Bitcoin.
Yep.
or there's a couple wallets tied to 80,000 Bitcoin, and most of it's been sent to Galaxy Digital to sell, which, who's then sent it to Coinbase, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to tell exactly how much has been sold. We can only see how much Bitcoin's been deposited to Coinbase. But I would venture to guess most of it's been sold at this point. For reference, when Bitcoin crashed super hard, when Germany was selling her Bitcoin, Germany sold 50,000 Bitcoin very aggressively over the course of I think a week or two. This seems way more aggressive. I think it looked like close to 30,000 Bitcoin in a day. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, very aggressive whale selling. Actually a little bit surprised we've held up this well through it. I think that is a bullish sign. I don't know where, it's just there's too many unknowns. We don't know exactly how much demand there is to absorb this Bitcoin. We don't know how much is left. So they could be done selling right now, or they could potentially sell, another, however much they have left. It's just very difficult to tell. But considering how much it looks like they've sold and how well Bitcoin's held up, I want to lean towards being a little bit bullish here, a little bit optimistic. As far as what I've been buying, consolidated some longs that honestly just weren't great longs to begin with into some stuff that's been held up and been a little bit stronger. Bonk being one of them. I think Bonk is still assuming Bitcoin holds up and doesn't just have the bottom drop out from underneath it. I think Bonk is still very attractive here. I think they've just soaked up all of Pump Fund's volume. Pump Fund has been crashing. Bonk's been doing really well. So I like that trade still. Otherwise, I'm just still staying in my longs from lower. We bought, accumulated a lot of XRP around $2 or so, a little under $2. So still riding that up 50% in a variety of different other longs like XLM and HBAR and whatnot. But yeah, really just kind of trying to weather the storm here until we get a little bit more clarity on whether this is gonna continue to spill off, or maybe we can bounce and see some upside. At this point, I'd rather add on, if you're a dip buyer, I think you can reasonably buy dips here. We're in an uptrend. I think you can reasonably buy dips. But if you're somebody who's waiting for confirmation, I think you can also just where I'm already in longs, so I'd rather just wait for this thing to bottom out and buy a little bit higher and add a little bit higher on a more confident swing back up.
Where do you think, Forrest, Bitcoin bottoms out? Do you have any target levels on your chart?
I got a lot of strong support at 112. I hope we don't get there. I really don't. I think it would be fine, but you do see a lot of longs coming in, especially on futures, which is a little bit scary because if those things get taken out, you get a pretty nasty liquidation wick. But I have a lot of support at 112, and then there's just some you've got that gold pocket at 113.4. There's support at 114. We've already seen 115 hold pretty decently. So there's just kind of scattered support in this entire region. Dipping below 112K would, yes, below the prior all-time high. Really don't want to see that. Below 110K, I think you have to start looking at being just outright bearish on the market. I don't think that's going to be the case, but if it is, it is. We have to trade what the market gives us.
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump visited the Fed yesterday and gave Jerome Powell a pat on the back and said lower the interest rate. So we'll see what they do. That's going to be this Wednesday. Also, big shout out to Brian Baca, gifted 5 Sin City memberships. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you for all the support. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm kind of, I'm in the same camp. 113.5 is the level I'm eyeing for us, and I saw a comment in here, the bull market's over. I don't think the bull market's over. In fact, I do want to share this one article here. And for us, I know we kind of talk about this from time to time, but this was an article posted by Defiant. Bitcoin's 4-year cycle theory is dead as whale strategy has shifted. A little context here. Now, this is aggregating from a post by Ki Young Ju, who is the CEO of Crypto Quant. If you remember, this is also the gentleman that it was a few months ago said the bull market cycle is over. And, well, he was wrong. And he kind of addresses that in here. So this is kind of his thesis on why he says that before your cycle is over. This time, this is a quote, this time, old whales sell to new long-term whales. Institutional adoption is bigger than we thought. Trading feels pointless, which it doesn't because we're making money here. There's a link to join Weeks in the description. Make sure to do that. Holders now outnumber traders. And then he said, kind of talking about his incorrect call on the bull market being over. My mistake was ignoring this shift in my bull cycle is over call, he admitted. I sincerely apologize if my prediction impacted your investment. So, Forrest, do you agree with Key here, Key Young-ju, that his entire thesis, and, you know, I've floated the idea of instead of these 4-year-long cycles, we get like 3 to 6 month mini cycles, which we're kind of been seeing. I mean, if you pull up the Bitcoin chart on the weekly for us, and, you know, when Lifer was in town, and I know I brought this up a few times, but when Lifer was here, you know, and you guys were both on the show, he kind of pointed out, like, Bitcoin is just move, flag, move, flag, move, flag, move, flag. And look, move. Now we're flagging, right, those small pullbacks. What are your thoughts on what this article is stating? And are you in line with the thesis of that traditional 4-year cycle where we get 2 years of 70% drawdowns from Bitcoin, 90% drawdowns from alts? Or what's your thesis now, seeing how everything's played out so far in 2025?
Yeah, I still think Bitcoin will act cyclically as long as we see significant upside. You know, getting on board with like a 70% pullback from here doesn't make a lot of sense because that would take us back down to 30, 40K. But if we move to 200K or 300K first, then yeah, it could see us moving from 300 back down to 100, 120. So I still lean towards the 4 to 5 year. I mean, like, I think 4-year market cycle, that's like, it's kind of been tied to the overall business cycle. And, you know, like, you know, it wasn't Bitcoin crashing that brought down the stock market in 2022. Like 2022 was a horrendous year for stocks as well. We kind of had like a little mini recession. And that was kind of right in line with the 4-year Bitcoin market cycle. So I think there's just broader cycles in the economy, peaks and troughs that tend to take, you know, have recently at least been taking 4 years or so. So I think it's 4 years plus or minus a year. Like, historically, the way Bitcoin's run cyclically, you'd expect a top, a cycle top somewhere, you know, by the end of the year, but plus or minus a year. I mean, we could see this bleed over into 2026, and maybe we get a really nice 2026 run, and we don't get a top until, you know, another year from now. So, you know, I still believe in kind of like the 4-year cycle theory, but loosely held, plus or minus a year.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just so on Towns, you get to rub a beaver's belly, and then you get points. So I'm trying to get some points here for the airdrop. I keep getting questions about the giveaway, guys. I do have a comment pinned to the top. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Read the comment. It's pretty clear. That's what you got to do. We'll pick one winner from the 5. Okay. Let's talk about big shout out to Poman, gifted 20 memberships. You know, maybe it's time to change your name to Not So Poman, because you're one of our biggest super chatters and gifters. So can we get a round of applause for my friend Not So Poman? Thank you. Friday, payday, let's go. Okay, let's talk about Trump. Now, for a lot of people are making fun of this, saying it's a scene from The Office, the show. And, well, news broke out. We finally saw what's on the paper. So in case you missed it.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us.
Get Kraken! Now, Kraken is not a channel sponsor, but we do use them, personal and business. Love them. It's great. Now, memes were born. The Vanguard CEO realizing they're the largest shareholder of MicroStrategy with the disgust in their face. I mean, look at this disgust. Like what? Those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Vanguard, they're the 2nd largest asset manager in the world, and they have refused to list or give their people access, right? Their investors access to the Bitcoin ETFs. It's not part of their strategy. And so, yeah, there you go. By proxy, they get exposure to Bitcoin. You also have this, Pengu. Man, I bought the Pengu dip again. I can't help myself. I think this thing is going to 10 billion. Call me crazy. And then this is pretty interesting here. Trump suggests the government could issue rebate checks to Americans from the tariff revenue collected this year. Now, I don't know if this would have to be approved by Congress, if it's just as easy as, hey, we got the money, Treasury, cut a check to everyone because they're not asking Congress for money. They already got the money. I don't know how it works, but obviously we saw what happened after COVID when people got airdropped. I'm not saying it's going to be at that level, but we've seen the risk appetite of investors increase. And if this happens and it coincides and around the same time that the Fed cuts rates, we start seeing money from the money market funds flow out and into equities, including BTC and ETH. We now have more ETFs. We have an XRP ETF. We have a Hedera ETF. We have a Solana ETF. They got more options to get exposure to the crypto ecosystem. I think this could all be a wave, a tsunami of new money coming in. Any thoughts on anything I just shared here for us outside of obviously the memes?
Yeah, I mean, bring on the stimulus checks, I suppose.
You think it's going to happen?
I don't know.
You think it's likely?
I'm sorry?
You think it's likely to happen?
I don't know. I think it'd be a pretty good PR move, right?
I agree.
People are kind of upset with the tariffs to begin with. They kind of feel like, oh, it's going to raise prices. All right, but if it raises prices and then Americans get a rebate check,
you know,
it kind of feels like robbing Peter to pay Paul, but
it gets better.
If people have extra income in their wallets and it feels like free money, they're way more likely to speculate it on my bags. So
you know what it is for us. We both have kids, and I don't know if you've had this situation with your son, but when your kid's crying and they're upset about something, and you're like, okay, well, look, I got a fruit snack here. You want some? And then they stop crying.
Yeah.
Same thing. Everyone's mad about the whole Epstein thing and the tariffs. And he's like, you guys want like a $200 check? Here, I have it for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of checks and money, the U.S. Treasury Department is now accepting Venmo and PayPal payments from those who want to donate money to reduce the national debt. Forrest, hey, this could be, I donated to charity, write off on your taxes. Is this something that you plan on doing?
I do this every year, unfortunately, with in the month of April through paying my taxes.
Amen.
Sadly, it's a requirement, but
yeah,
I feel like I already send a big enough payment, and I don't feel the need to send any extra.
Amen to that. Yeah, I don't know why they even thought anyone would want to do this, but hey, to each their own, right? Now, the market sip, but there are a few winners. And a lot of them that we've talked about on this show at length. The number one is Athena. And for those of you that are A, in our Patreon, B, just watch the show, I've talked about institutional DeFi, stablecoin DeFi being a big narrative. And you're seeing it. The top two gainers over the last 24 hours with the market seeing 500 million in liquidations is Athena, stablecoin, institutional DeFi, and Sky, aka MakerDAO, also lands in the stablecoin institutional DeFi. So everyone talks about making money. Well, are you putting in the time to follow, I'm not saying calls, but research at the very least, to take that information and then add it to your own research and decide, is this something I want exposure to? But believe it or not, over the last 24 hours, my portfolio actually has gone up a tiny bit. Not a lot, but a tiny bit. It's because we're allocated to the right projects. You also have Conflux, that is up 5.6%. And then Hedera, 25.36 cents. We make a lot of Hedera content on this channel. They're some of our best performing videos. So shout out to the HBAR community. And Forrest, I get excited when you get bullish on projects I have in my portfolio. If you miss Palantir, look into HBAR. Also, shout out to you for the Pudgy Penguin profile pic there. We have this as well. Robinhood just announced yesterday, HBAR is now available to trade on Robinhood. This is big. right? The most retail-friendly trading stock app in the world when it comes to stonks and stocks, right? Traditional markets is Robinhood. Now you can buy and sell HBAR there. Forrest, you also, through Sistine Research, you send out a breakdown, a synopsis and analysis on Hedera. I'm not going to share that, well, because I don't want, it's not fair to the people that are paying for that information. But Hedera, this post here, can you expand on it? What is your thesis? If you can, maybe at the back end for us, show a chart, maybe show us some entries on pullbacks. If people are watching this and like, oh, damn, man, I should have bought it. Let me buy it on the next dip. What are your thoughts? What's your thesis? And let's take a look at a chart.
Yeah. I would appreciate a like on that tweet, by the way. I'm just kidding.
I got
Twitter,
you. You're right, bro.
My
bad. You know what?
Badge.
Like and a repost, bro. I got you. Like and a repost.
Nice. Yeah, they rugged my verified badge. I just woke up and I was no longer verified. And I have to like reapply.
Because you changed your profile
wondering
pic.
why my Twitter looks like that is why.
It's that profile pic, bro. Every time you change a picture that you got to re-verify, it's dumb.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. The pudgy penguin picture got me.
Yeah. It'll be worth it though. Looks good.
Yeah, let's go to the HBAR chart. Right now there's kind of a sketchy potential head and shoulders here. If this thing just starts, turning back over, that would just be pretty bearish in the short term. Not saying I'm, outright bearish on HBAR here, but that would just not be ideal. That being said, we had a similar situation over here before we got a nice big run up where you had a slightly higher high and then we came back up and we just, instead of rolling over, we just blasted through. So we want to see HBAR carry some momentum here and just, start blasting through. The Robinhood listing will hopefully help. Definitely not going to hurt. But yeah, a lot of similarities for me between HBAR and Palantir on like the higher time frames. I think this is just like a really big inverse head and shoulders. The top here is HBAR, bottom here is Palantir. So you just had like this distribution, this kind of sell-off trough, reclaim. You had kind of reaccumulation in this prior zone, and that's kind of where we're at on HBAR right now. It just looks like we're chopping around in this prior distribution phase that we had over in this same price range, which is a pretty wide price range. So who knows? This could take some time. Maybe we chop around some more here over the next year. Ideally, we follow something similar in terms of structure, and this little double bottom here is similar to this little double bottom we had on Palantir before it just took off and ran. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, Hedera just seems very similar to Palantir also, just in terms of, what, like, if you boil down the narrative of the trade that it fits, you kind of have like this, I call it like a government-sponsored AI trade. So obviously, Palantir makes analytics, AI-driven analytics dashboards for government agencies, for the military, but also commercial uses. So it's an AI trade, but also they have a lot of government contracts driving a lot of revenue. Similarly, Hedera has like this big AI use case where they're able to like verify AI integrity.
Yep.
And then seem to be getting some, I listed them out in the newsletter, seem to be getting some attention and, potential government integrations as well. So I just think this is just, there's a lot of similarities. Yeah, beyond that, I'll also mention that the good news is that newsletter has transitioned to a free newsletter. So if you just go to sistine.ai and you just type in your email address, you'll get all the future emails. So it is a free newsletter for anybody who wants to get access to it. You can just go to the website. The Towns is the paid community at this point. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, so all the newsletters are free now. Okay, that's dope. Well, in that case, let's pull it up. I have HBAR in my portfolio. It's one of my bigger holdings. We actually talked, what Forrest mentioned with AI integrity, we talked about that in not our last video, but the video prior. And we kind of shared what that means and how that could benefit Hedera in the long term. But this is a write-up. And guys, I didn't even know it was free. If this thing is free, I mean, you should definitely go do it. Sistine.ai, highly recommend it. But so you think like $1 to $2, do you have any, and I don't know, you don't really like doing like price predictions. Actually, you do. You love price predictions because you throw like $10 to $20 XRP out there. What's a price prediction on Hedera, Forrest, if everything kind of plays out the way you think it's going to play out from the probability standpoint?
Yeah, so I'm actually just like, I think altcoins in general are just stupid cheap right now, pending, like Bitcoin and the rest of the market and, crypto adoption continuing to grow. The government's like, this current administration is fully supporting crypto and crypto adoption. So I do think that like 5 to 10x's are possible. As crazy as that sounds, like the inverse head and shoulders target on a log chart for HBAR right now is like 10x where it's at right now. I don't think it's going to go there overnight, but if this thing breaks out, I think that's entirely possible. I've got very high targets on XRP and even ETH right now starting to look like it's got potentially targets north of 10K. So really just depends on if Bitcoin can continue to push upwards. I mean, price targets are definitely dependent on Bitcoin not rolling over. If Bitcoin rolls over, goes back under 100K, the likelihood of us reaching those big price targets anytime soon just drastically goes down. But as long as Bitcoin keeps trucking along, I actually think that historically speaking, altcoins are about as cheap as they've been in years in relation to Bitcoin. If you look at Bitcoin dominance, it's very, very high. It's like north of 60% still, if I'm not mistaken. I don't check it every single day, but yeah, 61%. So in relation to Bitcoin, altcoins are just historically very, very cheap right now still, even though it feels like a lot of them have kind of run. Like if we're going to get a real bull market, like a lot of this stuff's not even at all-time, HBAR's not at all-time highs. The XRP not at all-time highs, ETH not at all-time highs. Bitcoin broke its prior cycle all-time high a while, like over a year ago, I think at this point of $69,000. So Bitcoin's been trading well above its all-time high for a while, and alts are still well below theirs. And I think there's some alts that a lot of people have written off that have just gone through just massive accumulation phases. And if they start expanding into price discovery, you're gonna see them rip upwards. So yeah, I think HBAR could 5 to 10x from here, assuming the rest of the market, assuming Bitcoin doesn't roll over.
Yeah. Shout out. We do have one person so far who's joined Towns, and so your chances are high, my friends. And so shout out to that person. I'm not going to say who they are. Maybe they don't want anyone to know. But Forrest, is there one sector that you are completely staying away from? I know it's not DeFi. Is it payments? Is it gaming? Is it RWA? Is it AI? Any vertical sector you're just not interested in having any exposure to?
Yeah, I'll give you two. I'll give you one that I'm staying away from, and one that I think is very far out there that I am delving into.
Okay.
The one that I'm staying away from is blockchain gaming. And the reason being is because it is and I've held this opinion for a while, it is very, very difficult to have a successful blockchain game. It's very, very difficult to have a successful game. Now, I actually like the thesis and the idea around blockchain gaming. I think somebody's going to do it, but I haven't seen any particular blockchain game that is just totally nailing it out of the park. I think it's just a very difficult thing to do, and it might it could be a month, it could be 5 years before we see a blockchain game just like blow up to the size of Call of Duty or Fortnite and remain. The other thing with games in general, the attention cycles are brutal.
Yeah.
People play Fortnite and then they switch to whatever the new hot game is. It's why Call of Duty is such a big, long-standing franchise, and they just recycle Call of Duty every single year because they found a game format that people want to play, and then they just have stuck with that and continue to make new Call of Duties every single year. It is really, really, really difficult to continue to grow as a game once you've kind of gone viral and had success.
That's a great point.
Look at like
for
World of Warcraft player base over time.
That's a great point.
It is really, really difficult. So it's like and then there's so many games that are being built by even really solid teams, but it is really, really hard to get users to play a game and then for that game to go viral. So it's not that I'm bearish on the idea of blockchain gaming. I actually think whoever nails it is going to just make insane amounts of money. And anybody who's able to identify that, and I'll be on the lookout for it if I see something. But I think it's just very, very difficult to throw a dart and nail a bullseye on the blockchain gaming narrative.
Yeah.
One that I am delving into, though, is on-chain art, particularly on ETH. I think Fidenzas are going to do extraordinarily well. Little bit of a higher price entry point, but punks are getting swept up right now. And as far as anything that's just not a profile picture, in terms of art, a high-end art on chain, I think Fidenzas are the most attractive. So I think that those will do very well. But I think just like the super high-end art on ETH, if ETH goes to like, 10K plus, you're going to see a lot of this art do really, really well.
I mean,
don't have any exposure to punks, sadly. I think if you accumulated hoodie punks, you're just euphoric right now, because I think somebody just 5 of them.
dude, 8 of them, Forrest.
Yeah.
8 of them.
8 of them. Yeah.
They swept 8 of them. I mean, look at the recent transactions, guys. We're having $250,000 buys here plus.
Yeah.
And a market. I mean, yeah. You said Fidenzas, CryptoPunks. What about Bored Apes, Forrest? Are you bullish on Bored Apes?
I'm not to say that I don't think they could do well. They just have way too many sub collections under, like, there's 10,000 punks. And that's it. That is like the extent of the collection. Larva Labs has other collections. But for the most part, it's just like the punks just kind of stand alone by themselves. You don't have any like dilution. Bored Apes, on the other hand, I think they'll do well if ETH does well, but it's just like you're kind of now in the realm of, just continuing to get diluted by Yuga Labs. I don't know. Don't love Bored Apes at the moment. Pudgy Penguins have done extraordinarily well as well. I'd focus more on that ecosystem just because they've maintained so much relevance. I just don't see Bored Apes on the timeline nearly as much. But then I think you probably want to look into like art blocks if you're looking for on-chain art, like Chromie Squiggles, Fidenzas. There's a couple other projects that have gained some popularity recently, but yeah, those would be my personal picks.
Awesome. Forrest, you talked about gaming. I was super bullish on gaming. We saw Off the Grid come out, had hype, and then it just fizzled away, right?
The other thing with blockchain gaming, I'll say, is like nailing it to like actually, it's one thing to get the users, but then how they distribute the tokens. A lot of times they have like high inflationary tokenomics to like encourage more players to play the game. And sometimes that just gets farmed super hard and that like dilutes or just crushes the price. So it is like blockchain gaming is somebody's going to nail it at some point. But it is very, very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just one more question on this and then we'll move on. If blockchain gaming blows up, you think it's going to have to be a big title that shifts to blockchain gaming, like a GTA, like a Call of Duty, like a Fortnite, or could it be a blockchain native born game that just puts it on the map? Which one is more likely to blow up that space?
I think either could happen, but I think what's most important is the player base. So like if Grand Theft Auto, I'll give you an example, like Counter-Strike. I don't know if anyone, follows along with like you can buy skins for your guns in Counter-Strike. They're not NFTs. They're not like decentralized, but there's still like a huge market for them. And they've actually done extraordinarily well in terms of price performance. I think a game like that, integrating some form of a token and NFT system for skins, whether that's Grand Theft Auto 6 or another game, could absolutely do extraordinarily well with a crypto token. But yeah, it just comes down to popularity and player base. I do think there's a small chance, there's some speculation around Grand Theft Auto having some blockchain integration. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, if that game ever freaking launches, Jesus Christ.
See you in 2030.
Yeah, I know, right? It's gonna. I'm buying it though, dude. I rarely play video games. I would buy that game and play it. All right. Let's talk about ETH and BlackRock. This is posted by Watcher Guru. BlackRock, head of digital assets, leaves the company to join the second biggest ETH treasury company, Sharplink Gaming. This was a post from said head of digital assets, Joseph Shalom, or I don't know. After 20 years at BlackRock and helping to lead its digital asset strategy, I'm beginning a new chapter. I've joined Sharplink as co-CEO. Here's why. At BlackRock, I helped launch IBIT, the world's largest Bitcoin ETF, THETA, world's largest Ethereum ETF, and BITL, world's largest tokenized fund. We didn't just talk about digital assets, we bridged TradFi and crypto. Now I'm joining Sharplink Gaming, a company led by Joseph Lubin, and built on a clear belief that Ethereum is becoming the foundation of global finance, and I couldn't agree more. Stablecoins, tokenized assets, AI agents are all moving on chain, and it's happening on Ethereum. That's where the future is being built. Sharplink is already one of the largest corporate holders of ETH. Our goal is not to just hold ETH, but to activate it using native staking, restaking, and Ethereum-based yield strategies. Been saying this. Staking, Lido. Restaking, Eigenlayer. Ethereum-based yield strategies, AAVE, Athena, Curve, Convex. The shit I've been talking about for the last 6 months, okay? So hopefully, the guy who used to work at BlackRock, when he's saying it, people pay attention. All to increase the value of our treasury and create long-term shareholder value. We're building a bridge between institutional capital and Ethereum native yield packaged in a single public equity. The asset is ETH. The ticker is SBET. Forrest, thoughts?
This is super bullish for ETH. ETH is finally just ridiculously bullish. I think ETH versus Bitcoin goes through the roof, assuming Bitcoin doesn't just roll over, which I just don't think it will. Yeah, this is very bullish for altcoins. I think like even though like you could have picked up ETH under $2,000, like even if you missed that bottom, like let me show you like an ETH Bitcoin chart.
Please, yeah.
Just to kind of like demonstrate how cheap this still feels. It still feels like ETH is still under all-time high. So when ETH has had a demand problem. Everyone's been focusing on Bitcoin. Everyone's saying ETH is dead. Then we've got all this pro-crypto legislation. Now stablecoins are the new narrative. I'll even grab a better example of this.
Forrest, guess who never said ETH is dead? This guy. The other guy?
Nice.
Gina, show the other guy. He's not here. The other guy, although he'll say, oh, I told people when it was under. Nah, the dude punted on ETH. This dude did not punt on ETH. So I just had to say that. Thank you very much. Sorry, Forrest.
Yeah, I mean, I think ETH is very capable of going back to range highs versus Bitcoin. Obviously, this was a down-only chart for a very long period of time. It capitulated into prior support, and it held and has now found a new source of demand. I think a lot of people were just overly focused on the supply side of ETH. That being like the proof of stake, burn mechanism, deflationary mechanism versus, Bitcoin. I don't think the supply side matters nearly as much as you have to find buyers. You have to find demand. But if we take, the last time, ETH really capitulated hard, prior to a big run, and we just overlay it. And again, fractals aren't guaranteed by any means, but you see what's like the potential that this has to bounce back. I mean, like ETH capitulated, this is ETH Bitcoin. ETH versus Bitcoin capitulated 80%. People were calling ETH dead back here. I think ETH was at like, $80 at one point versus Bitcoin. And that was actually, in the market, this market cycle after this. But ETH and altcoins in general are very capable of bouncing back. Like this feels very cheap still to be able to buy ETH here, especially with this newfound demand and these treasury companies popping back. Back to the top of the range is 400% on top of whatever Bitcoin does. So there's a very strong case to be made that it is still very early for ETH, and ETH can still see price targets of 10K plus, maybe even 15, 20K. These things are just, these price targets are not out of the question. Like imagine, people, I'll show you another example of, that $80 ETH price. was talking about, ETH back in 2019 and 2020 double bottomed under $100. Went from 1,400 to under $100, and people, of course, were calling ETH dead. And then what does ETH end up doing? Goes on a massive run from $80 all the way to 4,000. So like when you're here and it feels like I missed the bottom on ETH. I didn't buy it under $100, so I missed the bottom. Oh, I missed the bottom because I didn't buy it at $1,400. Like, you're still under this prior range. Like, we're potentially like right here on ETH if we're going to get another big run. In which case, like, there's still so much upside. So I know a lot of people feel like they've missed the move, but I think that's like the biggest mistake you can make, is thinking you've missed the move when in reality, like, this thing's not even in price discovery yet. If this thing runs to $5,000 or $6,000, now all of a sudden you could run to 14,000 very, very quickly, historically speaking. So yeah, still, super bullish ETH, especially if we break all-time highs.
Me too, man. Me too. You just, my whole thing with, because I'm joke with Rob, I joke at Rob all the time, but it wasn't just Rob. It was a lot of people that were saying ETH is dead. And for me, I try to, there's a book called Signal and the Noise. You try to separate the noise and look at the signal, and you separate the sentiment and crypto Twitter and this person saying that, and you look at the signal. What is actually happening? ETH was gaining dominance in RWAs. ETH, although a lot of like the meme tokens, the NFTs, what drove ETH last cycle wasn't happening. Other things were happening. And so that is kind of what led me to continue to say ETH is not going anywhere. ETH is not dead. Yeah, it's slow compared to Solana. Yeah, it's clunky compared to Cardano or to Near or whatever. But look at the facts. The institutions and the largest players are still choosing Ethereum. And I'm sorry, I know what I'm talking about, but with the resources and the ability to allocate the amount of capital and those resources, I don't have that ability. But if I see those people doing it, I'm like, okay, well, shit, something's going on here. And so you always want to separate the signal from the noise. Don't pay attention to the noise. Pay attention to what's actually happening. And that's how we've been able to hit it on a few of these altcoins. I wanted to, damn it, I lost my train of thought. I wanted to either ask you a question. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. If you guys enjoy Forrest's insight and charts, he will be manning the Sistine trading stream today. And all you got to do is just stay in the Sin City Crypto chat, the one you're in now, and you'll automatically be redirected to Sistine Trading, where you can get Forrest and charts for 45 minutes to 1 hour. Highly recommend you guys go do that. Okay, let's talk about this. Forrest, Chris Larson, 140 million in XRP over 7 days. Forrest, a lot of people will point to things like this and say, this is why I don't hold XRP. It's centralized. The founders hold too much of it. The escrow controls too much of it. They just dump on the retail investors. You're their exit liquidity. Would you like to take a moment to do a public service announcement here for us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was ever like verified. Also, if he's sending it to exchanges, we don't know if he's selling it. But even if he is, like, it's his tokens.
But why else
he's
would he
not
send
selling
it?
out
I
of
mean,
yet.
Forrest, let's be real. Why else would he send it to an exchange?
Yeah, I mean, it's very realistic to, if these were actually his wallets and he sent it to exchange, probably is selling.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this. And I think anybody who does should examine who's selling their own investments. Do you not invest in Amazon because Jeff Bezos dumped billions last year? There's an OG whale.
You mean last week?
Driving the price. What's that?
You mean last week? He sold like billions last week.
Oh, he's been dumping for months.
Yeah.
Billions. There's an OG whale in Bitcoin. My guess is it's Ross Ulbricht. Are you just going to not invest in Bitcoin because there's a whale that just dumps 80,000 Bitcoin in a week, and then price comes down 5+%? Chainlink, Sergey Nazarov just constantly dumping Chainlink. Ethereum Foundation constantly dumping Ethereum. Like, the founders of these tokens have large bags, and they're entitled to dump them. Like I don't know, like people love to point at XRP, but this is also just like a founder of the project. They're not dumping out of the escrow, on the open market. They're just like, this is a founder's bags. If he wants to dump them, like 140 million is a lot less in relation to XRP's market cap than the 10 billion that we just saw dumped of Bitcoin. You can like point to a million different projects that do this. Like, what is the point of dedicating your life to building a crypto coin and project if you can't make a profit? Like, if you can't at some point realize gains? Like, do you want Chris Larson to just work for you for free for your bags and just never take profit at all? Like,
I do. And I want him to put in 24 hours a day, and I want him to like, I'm sorry, but anyone who's ever created a business, you do it to provide a financial living for yourself, to make money. So yeah, I'm not in the, like, I don't bash when they sell, but I agree. The escrow thing would be a little different maybe, but personal, like, I'm sorry, if there was a Sin City Studios token and we spent 10 years and, $5 million building the studio, and it was, and the fruits of our labor were coming to fruition and the token was rallying, yeah, I would sell some too, bro. Like, what the, unless there was utility with the coin where I can use it to do things, but there really isn't, right? So, those are my thoughts. I agree with you, Forrest. I just think it's funny. No, I agree. I think Ripple or XRP does get a lot of flack that the other projects don't. And I like that you mentioned Chainlink and the ETH Foundation. There's plenty more. Trust me, they're not the only ones. But it's something that we should all just come to terms with. Like, they're going to do it. If a person or if you founded a company or you launch a token, I would expect you, if it starts doing well, to sell some of the token. It's just matter of fact. It's business, my friends. Okay, Forrest, I do want to talk about this. So Tron, Justin Sun, yesterday, in a tuxedo at that, rang the NASDAQ bell, okay? And, Tron displaces Cardano as Tron Inc. rings the NASDAQ bell. Let's take a peek here. Cardano is number 10 now, usurped by Tron. Tron, 29.8 billion, Cardano, 28.1 billion. Forrest, I need to ask you a very important question. You have to hold one of these for this cycle. Are you more comfortable holding Tron or more comfortable holding Cardano?
I think Tron will outperform, but I'm not comfortable holding it. It's like,
why not?
Got one of the weirdest, most bizarre charts. I don't know if it's some sort of, I don't know what kind of crime is going on there, but like, I'm pretty sure there's some crime going on.
Better be careful, man. Better be careful.
Yeah. So even though Tron has a really great chart that's just been steadily growing over time, I just I can't bring myself to hold it. It just kind of sketches me out, just because then they're heavily tied to Tether. I think 50% of Tether is on Tron. So I don't know what's going on there, and because of that, I just kind of choose not to hold it. Cardano is just in a bull market, in an alt season, performs very well. It's a fan favorite of retail, so I would expect it to do well, but it's not something that I don't think it's gonna perform horribly in an alt season, but there's just other projects and tokens that I just choose to focus on. But I believe it is ISO 222 compliant, so I'm bullish on that basket of tokens. So I think it could do well. So I'd probably choose Cardano, but just because Tron kind of spooks me, I really don't know how to explain it other than the fact that the founder has done some sketchy stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Forrest, I'm going to let you go. I know you got to prep for the trading show. I got a couple more things I'm going to go over, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So, Forrest, thank you for joining us. I will say, on the Towns giveaway, we want to give people the chance who are not live. Maybe they watch after the fact. Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will pick the one winner. Again, just to recap, join the Towns. The link is in the description. Join Towns in the general chat. Type in Sin City Crypto. Out of the first 5 that type that in, I will pick one person and I will refund you the full 0.1 ETH. Okay? So get an entire year of all the Forest Alpha for free, compliments of Sin City Crypto. Very simple. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At that point, we will draw one winner from the top 5. And so, yep, shout out to you, Forrest. Thank you again. Have a great show over at Sistine Trading. We'll send as many viewers as we can over there, and we'll see you next week, brother.
See you guys.
Take care. All right. Now we did pick some winners for the Decent Wallet giveaway. I do want to note though, for those of you that maybe didn't get picked as a winner and you're looking for, I would say this is a cross between like a Tangem and a Ledger, and the app on the phone is super intuitive. It's nice. It's got a lot of tokens. And then the actual device, which has a pretty decent sized screen, biometric, so the thumbprint, the fingerprint. And so without it, really, the security is, as it says here on the website, unmatched security perfected with fingerprint technology. This is, again, a cold wallet. Those of you that are serious about hodling your Bitcoin, your crypto, and really, right, you look at it as a investment in your financial future. You want to custody your coins yourself, especially your Bitcoin, especially some of your top altcoins. And you have a lot of options. You have Ledger, you have Tangem, love Tangem. Decent is a great option. Love these guys too. And so supports the most popular mainnets, Bitcoin, ETH, XRPL. And XRPL is one that we know the ecosystem is about to blow up. So the coins that are launched on that, you can go to their website. I'll drop it in the comment section. Excuse me, in the description of the video. Go to their website and check it out, man. Check out their roadmap. Check out what assets they support. They have a FAQ in there. And to those of you that won, email, okay? You got an email, business@sincitycrypto.io. They sent you an email. Please check your spam. I'm going to have my guy send it again. They're going to ask for your shipping address, and then they're going to ship the Decent wallet to you. And so big thank you to Decent for giving away those three free wallets. And then you can also see their mobile app, which you can download directly from the website, whether it's on Android or Google. Transaction history, NFTs, receiving, sending, adding accounts. Again, super intuitive, tons of different, like you can see here, 4,600 coins, 84 blockchains. And you can see what is supported and what is not supported. And so guys, again, you never know what can happen with any of these platforms, but I would highly recommend you custody your own. Again, those links are in the description of this video. So big thanks to Decent for sending those wallets. I do also want to give a big thank you to Cam's Blue Wire Technology for being our longest tenure sponsor on the show. And if you run a business, you want to maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, Cam's is the way to go. Visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. That'll do for the show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Rob is actually in studio. He's in the back. Those of you that don't know, we didn't do a show on Tuesday. Our back studio kind of flooded from the next door neighbor. And so we're putting everything back together. We brought our team of experts in along with Rob. They're in the back handling that. That's why he's not on the show today. But we'll be back on Monday. ICP video drops later today. The giveaway is still ongoing for Towns. I love you all. Gina, roll the outro. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay in the chat. You're going to be automatically redirected to Sistine. Forrest is going to be manning that show, breaking down the charts, maybe some live trades. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Sin City, crypto, everybody know we here for entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in, for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in then you win, we divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David, I split the game but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite, I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners, special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners, ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors, they gonna teach us mean coins, they polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.